For sure, them belts coming with me. They coming home with me. I'm telling you, right?
You can see it, but
I'm
it's
taking.
gonna be it's
Taking
gonna
them.
be difficult. You take it to your
I'm
home.
taking them. It ain't nothing you gonna be able to do about it. Come fight
And
night.
I know Turkey is in your corner,
I promise you.
look, it's
All
gonna be
right.
very difficult. He's gonna be so mad that day. Believe me.
Despite a mutual promise to keep things respectful, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez couldn't help themselves. The moment they stepped onto the stage for their first press conference, the gloves were off. The war of words exploded instantly.
Because we are true fighters. We are not true fighters. True, yeah. No, you cannot you fight. Huh? Make you fight. Yeah. They need to talk and talk about fight. They want to say something. The people know we are great fighters. We want to put a game. Yeah. We don't know. I am sure in the end, in the middle of the chapter.
All pretense of mutual admiration vanished as the two fighters tore into each other with the kind of heat usually reserved for their fiercest rivals. It didn't take long for the tension to rise, and you can probably guess who lit the first match.
I see you. I see you. You see I'm
I
different.
see you too.
You see I'm different than all the other
No,
ones.
I see you. No, you don't know different. You nothing different.
I'm different.
Nothing different.
I'm different.
We'll see.
You gonna see it. You know it.
We'll see. We'll
We
see.
gonna see.
In what's being billed as the fight of the century, Alvarez threw cold water on any idea that it would be a close contest. With Crawford moving up in weight, Canelo didn't mince words. He once said the fight wasn't even worth it. When asked about the damage a loss would do to his legendary record, Canelo, cool as ever, dismissed the idea. He's not going to beat me. Don't worry about it.
He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be in the books of the history of boxing for sure. That's for sure.
He's a great fighter, Alvarez acknowledged, but he's not Canelo. I've got the experience. He brushed off the idea that power was his only asset. At 34, with 11 world titles and 67 fights under his belt, Canelo has more than earned the status of legend. And yet, Crawford smiled and replied confidently, for sure. These belts are coming home with me.
On the streets, you and Canelo, what would it look like?
Come on, man. I know what I do. I ain't got to talk about it on the streets. I'm gonna be against anybody. I ain't never gonna say another man gonna whoop me. So that's your answer right there.
I guess in Guadalajara, you think it'd be a little different on the streets if Terence came to town?
I think every city, every place is different. No, it's different. But we don't talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing, the beautiful sport of boxing. So that's different, way different than the streets.
Though 26 pro fights separate the two, Crawford's resume is equally impressive: 19 consecutive title fights, two-time undisputed champ, and now aiming to become the first male boxer in history to be undisputed in 3 weight classes. I'm different from all the others, Crawford said. Canelo's reply cold and cutting: you don't look different.
However I gotta fight, I'ma win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I've been fighting my whole life. I won't be running. I can tell you that. But I will be, doing a lot of touching.
Give me wrong. He's a great fighter, but like I say, he's not Canelo.
Canelo turned pro at 15 in 2005, while Crawford entered the ring professionally at 20 in 2008. He's the last great from that era, Crawford said. The one who got to fight legends like Floyd, Manny, and Oscar. This is my mega fight. My moment.
I'm very excited, motivated, because this is all about. I want to make history, and I'm very excited for this fight. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna being.
Now, Crawford gets his shot at greatness inside the $1 billion Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders, in a Netflix headlined event. "Come on, man. You know what I do," Crawford said confidently. "In the ring or the streets, I ain't ever said another man could beat me." Canelo shot back, "We're not talking streets. We're talking boxing, the beautiful sport of boxing."
Listen, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we gotta fight. I'm gonna win the fight. Simple as that.
Can I ask you about if there's any rematch clause with the fight with Canelo?
No, it's not.
So you pushed it?
No, I didn't.
And there's any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
Pressed by host Todd Grisham about the pressure of judges and decisions, Crawford made it clear, "I can't focus on the judges. I can only control what I do. I'm going in there to win decisively." While praising Canelo's toughness, he made one thing clear: anybody can get knocked out. "And I always rise to the big occasion."
Fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want to manage this. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, reasons why, he didn't feel good or anything. I want to manage that.
Canelo isn't worried about the size mismatch, even though Crawford is moving up 2 weight classes. "I've been in his shoes before," Canelo said. "It's not about size. I always prepare for the best, and I come to win."
When would you say, from memory, that you first thought this fight was a real possibility, that you started thinking about this fight actually happening?
Well, I started thinking about it, a couple of years ago when they started talking about Spence fighting Canelo. Then just, sizing him up, like, all right, how tall is he? How long his arms and things like that. Just sizing him up like that, going to his fights and things like that. And
Both fighters had final messages for their fans. Canelo kept it simple: "I always come to fight. I bring my best every time. Thanks for your support." Crawford, meanwhile, had a rallying cry: "Suit up. We're bringing more jewelry home."
There's a lot of experts that think Canelo's not the same fighter. His punch output's a lot less. What do you think, considering the last 12 months or so? Is he the same fighter he was maybe a few years ago?
I think he is. I just think, he just wasn't up for the skull fight. And I think, different fighters bring different, energies out of other fighters.
A lot of people are judging you on the Madrimov fight, saying you struggled moving up in weight. You're going further up in weight, and you're saying that's going to go against you based on the Madrimov fight. How do you kind of reply?
History is on the line. Crawford could become the first male boxer to be undisputed in 3 weight divisions. The stage? Allegiant Stadium. The crowd? 65,000 strong. And this event? The very first promoted by Dana White's new Saudi-backed boxing entity.
Oscar De La Hoya wasted my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you, to say his name. I decided with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick.
At the press conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, the man behind the kingdom's investment in global boxing, opened with praise. "I had dinner with these 2 legends last night," he said. "But now, the real business begins."
And after that we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring, because it will launch in September. Oscar De La Hoya wasted my time with this question. Of course, it is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport #1 in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
Al-Sheikh, known for transforming the Saudi sports landscape, had demands no Tom and Jerry boxing. "I want smashing faces and blood." Before either fighter spoke, Al-Sheikh addressed the media, making clear that this wasn't just another fight, it was a statement.
Yeah, this is what I want from you to say his name. I decided with Dana White to have a breakfast with MGM at 10 p.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick. And after that we will go to Crawford, and in the night we will watch enjoy it because it's launch in September. Wait.
I want to speak to you about some of Turkey's comments. He said he doesn't want Tom and Jerry, people running away in the ring. What did you make of that?
I agree with that. I agree with that. You know, people want to see a good fight. People want to see a good fight, and I agree with that.
Do you think
we can achieve because you know people will come and spend money to see a great fight, and if the other fighters come and run all the night and don't make a good fight, it's deceptional.
Known as the kingdom's deep-pocketed power broker in boxing, Alshika's expectations are high. Alvarez and Crawford will deliver, he said. His disdain for fighters who run was evident. This is boxing. No hiding.
Waste my time with this question. Of course, it's the beat. Boxing is sport number 1 in the world. Canelo and Crawford. Alright, take that.
Do you think he saw your fight with Skull and potentially Canelo?
Yeah. We talk after we talk after about that, and it's very sad. But you know, it is what it is.
I know.
I hope not. I hope not, because we expect a great fight, the fight of the century, right? So I hope not.
Crawford's last fight, a win over Madrimov, earned boos for its lack of action. Alshik hinted at limiting ring size to force more engagement. They're professionals, he said. They know what they have to do now.
You heard His Excellency saying no more Tom and Jerry, no more running, but you're moving up 2 weight classes. It's not going to be smart for you to stand there and hammer it out with this guy. So how do you kind of balance that, not running, but being elusive in fighting Canelo?
However I gotta fight, I'm gonna win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I've been fighting my whole life. You know, I won't be running.
Crawford moves up 14 pounds for this bout, a huge leap. But he remains defiant. Nobody tells me how to fight, he said. I'm not running. But I will be doing a lot of touching.
Well, listen, I called Canelo out because, like I said, he the last great fighter among the era that surpassed us. You know, the Floyd, the Pacquiao, the De La Hoya. We both came up in that era, and he was right there with those fighters, and he got the chance to fight the Miguel Cottos, the Floyd Mayweathers, and you know, the Povalevs and Triple G's, and I wasn't able to get those.
Canelo's last knockout came in 2021. His recent fights have been criticized for lack of fire. We win. That's all that matters, Canelo said. But Alshik and fans alike may not agree.
Your Excellency, County Promotional Show.com. First of all, congratulations for everything you've done for boxing since you've into the game. You've done this really great fight. Your Excellency to feature as great fights. Your boxing historian yourself, do you think this fight resembles Marvin Hagler in the 80s? The fact that Canelo has just fought for the 2 great pound-for-pound legends, both first ballot Hall of Fame for the future.
The next KO may need to come soon. Especially with His Excellency watching closely and possibly planning another dinner to issue more expectations.
That Terence cannot do.
No, don't get me wrong. He's a great fighter, like I say, he's not Canelo. Obviously, I'm been in this situation for a long time, and I have the experience. They only focus on my power, but I have more than that. I think this fight is gonna be one of my best fights.
The press conference wrapped with a traditional face-off, tense, silent, and charged. Canelo blinked first. For the first time since the fight was announced, the two men stood eye to eye.
Pick it up too big. Pick it up too big for Crawford. I think that's the reason why if Crawford was a mover like the rest of us, then maybe you could have a good chance for Canelo. But I think that being that Crawford is a fighter, that's gonna be dangerous. That's gonna be a problem. He's decided he wants to fight, and he's gonna move a little bit, but his heart is not in moving. So he's gonna have to sit there and fight with Canelo. And if you sit there and fight with Canelo, and he's that much bigger than you, I don't know.
Boxing legend Shane Mosley weighed in, saying he couldn't see Crawford beating Canelo at this weight. Canelo's got skills too, Mosley said. At 168, it's a different story. A win would make Crawford the first male to claim undisputed titles in 3 divisions, an all-time historic feat, and that's all for now. Stay locked in and subscribed for the latest updates in the world of boxing. This fight? It's not just a clash, it's a turning point for the sport.